Hey there, it's Miss Stolte. This is day 1 of virtual learning, and I'm going to start reading you a book called The Wind in the Willows. Tonight I'm going to read you chapter 1, which is called The Riverbank. And hopefully my dogs will not bark in the middle. Mole had been working very hard all morning, spring cleaning, first with brooms and dusters, then standing on a little table with a brush and a pot of paint, slap, slap, up and down till he was aching all over. Suddenly he flung down his brush, said bother, and hang spring cleaning, and bolted out of the house into the fields outside. This is fine, he said to himself. This is better than painting the house. First he met some rabbits as he rambled along the hedgerows. Soon he found himself by a river. Mole sat down on the grassy bank, and then he saw, coming out of a dark hole on the other side, a brown little face with whiskers. It was the water rat. "Hello, Mole," said Rat. "I'll come over in my boat to fetch you." "Do you know I've never been in a boat before in all my life?" cried Mole. "What?" said Rat. "In that case, let's go down the river together and make a day of it." He rowed quickly back across the water with Mole. Rat popped into his hole in the bank and came staggering out a few minutes later with a heavy picnic basket. They rowed down the river past the wild wood as far as an old watermill. There Rat brought his boat alongside the river bank so that they could set out the picnic. "What have we got?" asked Mole, who was hungry. "There's chicken and ham and salad and lemonade and cake and chocolate biscuits." "Oh my," said Mole. A few minutes later, when they were feeling much better and not so hungry, a very wet and furry head suddenly appeared out of the water above the edge of the river bank. It was Otter. "You greedy beggars," he said, "why didn't you invite me?" And he set about helping them finish up the picnic. "All the world seems to be out on the river today," said Otter, wiping his paws on his whiskers. "Toad's out for one in his brand new boat and wearing his new boating clothes." Just then Toad flashed into view, rowing rapidly past the watermill. Rat stood up excitedly and waved to him, but Toad just shook his head and rowed on. By now they had eaten all the food. Otter was in the middle of telling them a story about Toad, and beginning to feel a bit peckish again, when suddenly he saw a juicy mayfly. With hardly a splash he was gone. So Mole and Rat picked up the picnic things and got back into the boat to go home. Rat was rowing gently along when Mole said, "Ratty, please, I want to row now." "Not yet, Mole," replied Rat. "It's not as easy as it looks." But Mole jumped up and grabbed the oars, knocking Rat backwards. "Stop it," cried Rat. "You'll have us both over." And over they went, splush, and they were both struggling in the water. Rat, of course, was a very good swimmer and thought it was very funny. Having rescued Mole and got him to the river bank to dry off, he plunged back into the water to recover his boat. Finally he dived down to the bottom of the river to rescue the picnic basket. "I am sorry, Ratty," said Mole dejectedly. When they eventually got back home, Rat sat Mole in front of a bright fire to cheer him up. And to warm him up, he told him river stories until supper time. So supper was a very happy meal, and soon afterwards Rat showed a very sleepy Mole upstairs to the best bedroom for the night.